welcome to Inside the Squared Circle. Charmin Chucky Williams here with you, along with the Chancellor of Lyles University, Brian Lyles.
I had to crush some things over there. So.
And Mike Valentine. Glad you could be with us here this week. We are going to talk a little bit about WrestleMania 30. Our last show, we took the time to talk about the life and times of the Ultimate Warrior and his untimely passing. But this week we want to talk to you a little bit about WrestleMania 30 and some of the things going down. Mr. Valentine, you were actually there.
I was actually there in a horrible city.
Well, horrible city?
Oh.
You didn't like it?
What's wrong with the Crescent
What's
City?
wrong with New Orleans?
Are you kidding me? I'm convinced that place not only did not just still hasn't recovered, I don't think they recovered from the original flood back in the 1920s.
Oh, damn.
Wow.
Wow.
Shut up, Peanut Gallery.
Did you taste the cuisine down there?
I did, actually.
That was the cuisine.
I have no sense of taste.
That's what a lot.
So you didn't try any etouffee?
No, I did. Just couldn't taste any of it.
Okay. All right, moving along.
Yes.
Here inside the squared circle, we're going to talk about WrestleMania 30. Our question of the week this week is that we posted it on Facebook. Wanted to know about your thoughts on WrestleMania 30. What you thought about some of the things that went down. So if you can, if you want to write us, ITSC Wrestling Facebook. That's where you'll find us. itsc.letters@gmail.com is where you will find us through the email system. Let's talk a little bit about WrestleMania 30, guys. I'm just going to, go around here. I mean, I think the big story is obviously the Taker streak coming to an end. And I'd like to get each of your takes on it.
On the Taker.
Takes on the Taker streak. And you were there, Mike. So give us a little bit of insight as to what it was like inside that building when that hand went down for the 3 count.
I'm going to assume it was a lot like when Bruno Sammartino lost his title after a 7-year reign.
Okay.
Because that arena, that stadium was silent. Like, as soon as that 3 count went, we were sitting there. I remember I'm just staring, not even thinking anything of it. The 3 count happens, and I'm thinking to myself, was that 3? And I turned to X-Man, and he's just looking off a little stunned, too, because I don't think he was expecting it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you could tell everyone around us was like, was that 3? Then Justin Roberts comes on and says, and the winner of this match, Brock Lesnar, and people kind of start, mumbling about thinking, they're probably going to reverse it. Something's probably going to happen. That probably wasn't supposed to happen. The graphic comes up, and that's when everyone just starts booing, and they start chanting, which we can't repeat right now. But yeah.
Well, go ahead. We're almost at the end of our run anyway.
But yeah, everyone was just kind of dumbfounded by it. Everyone was just shocked because that's not something you ever expected.
What are your personal thoughts?
My personal thoughts on it. The idea of the streak itself. The fact that it was going on for 22 years. I don't think it should have ended. But obviously, Vince McMahon said it's ending.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing you can do about that. But if that's going to be the case, it should have went to somebody who could use it. It should have went to a Cesaro. Should have went to a Roman Reigns. Should have went to a Daniel Bryan. To give it to somebody who was once in WWE, already a multi-time champion, left the WWE to become a UFC champion, to come back to the WWE, to lose in matches against John Cena, to lose the matches against Triple H, to pretty much be used to elevate other people, doesn't make sense that he's able to take out somebody like Taker. However, with that said, the storyline behind Taker losing the streak was amazing. And they told us from day one of the contract signing, Lesnar's losing his streak, but nobody wanted to pay attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole build-up to it, the whole pride before the fall that Taker did, the whole idea of Taker just going through the motions and thinking that he can beat Brock Lesnar was the whole reason why, after looking back at it, I really got behind, okay, Taker did need to lose it. And another interesting thing wound up coming out behind it. WWE, as little credit as we give them for the writing staff,
Not that much.
they can pull off some amazing things. And something really interesting did happen, and especially with the Undertaker character. I'm going to read this off, actually. Undertaker's record at WrestleMania is 21-1. Now, with the whole dead man gimmick, the spiritual thing that Undertaker has going, I don't know how familiar people are with their Bible, but Revelation 21:1 actually says, "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away." That sounds like the changing of the guard to me. With this streak ending, the last old school thing that WWE was holding on to, and Daniel Bryan winning the title and moving everything forward with the whole reality era that they're claiming, with the network. This feels like it was a huge deal, and if it was going to be 21-1, Taker needed to lose.
Okay. That's a very good point. In the pre-production meeting, I was talking to X about this, and he brought up the point that was very similar to that. Brian, before I get into kind of just an overall on that, your thoughts on Taker
I was
counting the ring lights?
I was over at the steam home of Ernest L. Stanley Esquire, and
Who? What was that name again?
Ernest L. Stanley Esquire.
Ernest. Hang on. Ernest.
He's that
L.
little punk who was the
Stanley.
intern a few years ago.
You know what? In reviewing video for the final show, the 25th anniversary show, I came across his audition tape for ITSC. He was a skinny ass punk. That's what he was.
Well, anyway. Yeah.
The only thing is that now he's a fat ass punk.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway.
and I said it. Yes, I did. We're going out with a bang, folks.
All right. But anyway, we were, him, myself, and all the friends that he brought in. Also, Burley Frank was there as well. We were all stunned.
I didn't get an invitation. What the hell is that about?
Well, Ernest said he's.
I think
Ernest said
past your bedtime.
Yeah.
It's past my bedtime.
But anyway,
I would have brought donuts.
but anyway, the Undertaker. I mean, it was like once the 3 count came down, it was like we were just like how Mike was at the arena. We were like, did it just happen? I thought it was gonna come out and all that stuff. And no, the music, the graphic, everything. It was just like totally unreal to us. And personally, I felt that again. I felt like it was time. I didn't matter to whom, as long as it wasn't Triple H. That's the main thing. If it was CM Punk the year before, I would have been fine with it. If it was Shawn Michaels between 25 and 26, I would have been fine with it. As long as it wasn't Triple H. Because I felt the one person who really didn't need it was him.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, my thoughts are very similar to you. When it happened, I sat there and it's like, did that just happen?
Mm-hmm.
And I just sat there like in amazement that I saw a 3 count and him lose.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't believe it. And then I started thinking about things. And I think the thing that upset me the most is what you had said with Lesnar being a part-time wrestler and giving it to him. But then when I started going back and looking over notes and things that I've accumulated over the years and seeing that back at 27, he wanted Lesnar to beat him at 27. And that apparently he was the only guy that he was going to lose the streak to, was Lesnar. And I guess because of their friendship. Then it's like, okay, this all kind of is starting to make sense to me. And one of the things I read, and you can read into this whatever you want, but I heard from a source that when the match was over, Lesnar leaned down into Undertaker and said, "Thank you." And, I mean, that is like the ultimate respect to someone to let them do. So what you might think of Brock Lesnar as a wrestler and all that, I mean, if that shows that the guy really is a respectful person inside the ring.
Right.
Mike, I wanted to touch on something you said, too. If you go back and look at the winners of that night, and you said about passing the torch just like X did in our pre-production meeting. Look at the people who won at WrestleMania 30.
Except for
Triple H lost, Taker lost. They were the two last old school WWE, and you can't even use New Age Outlaws. But if you want to put them in there too,
The Shield used them good.
if you want to put them in there too, yeah, I mean it's just and Kane. If you want to put them in there as old school, all of the old school guys lost.
Yeah, the Attitude Era. Yeah.
And all the new guys, the new era, won. Bryan, Shield,
Hey, I won. Thank you.
Cesaro, Usos, all of the new breed or the new era of WWE wrestlers all won in Mania. So maybe it is true that there is a passing of the torch here, that McMahon realizes that the old school can't. You got to start a new old school. And that's what I believe he's trying to do. The Cesaro thing, I mean, and you look at the symbolism, I guess is the best way. Cesaro picks up and slams Big Show out of the ring.
That was awesome.
I mean, that is reminiscent of 3, where Hogan picked up Andre and slammed Andre. You look at the spot that Bryan did with Orton and Batista, where they did the double finishing move through the announcer's table, shades of Mick Foley. So all of these old school type things, it seemed like they put them to rest at this WrestleMania to move forward. And I understand that. It's like the streak is great. It's been fun to watch, but it's time to move on.
Sure.
And the thing is that, and what I'm just going to say here to wrap up our part of this before we bring in Will, Behemoth Bob, and X-Man to talk about 30, is going forward. And it really sucks getting old because I lost my whole train of thought.
Here's how to get forward.
I just lost my whole train of thought
Quickly,
here.
here's how you get moved
That's why
forward.
we're canceling.
Yeah. Well, we're not canceling, Mike. We are ending the show. We could continue, but we're ending the show.
Well, here's quickly before I feel that WWE is this is the opportunity. We've been saying this for months, about promoting their new guys, promoting these guys better, and getting them out there. If this is the stepping stone, they need to capitalize, but they always somehow fall back and go back to their old ways for some weird reason. So hopefully they realize that Daniel Bryan's their future, Cesaro's their future, the Usos their future, now Paige, the new Divas champion, is their future. If they see this, they need to capitalize and push them forward.
And that's the other thing, too, is they're bringing in a lot of the NXT stars now. So they're talking about bringing in Sami Zayn and the Ascension. They're bringing in Adam Rose. They're bringing in Bo Dallas. They brought in Paige. So a lot of the guys who've been shining
Sasha Banks
in NXT are now coming into the WWE main roster. So this is a full-fledged turn for them. Inside the squared circle, Charmin Chucky Williams, that's my name. This has just been a real, never mind, I can't say that word.
Bye.
Mike Valentine, Brian Lyles, our final show, April 26th. You guys, I'll tell you, April 26th, our final show here, MCT Studios. Please show up about 11 o'clock for the taping. We'd love to see you here.
All right.
Will.
Save this man, please.
And welcome back to Inside the Squared Circle. You are joining us as you have every week since 1989. My name is Will Dunham. I'm joined as well by Behemoth Bob in the middle, and over there is the true star of the show, the X-Man, Exair Anderson. And we appreciate you watching. This week we are doing a review of Wrestlemania. Wrestlemania. And one of the three of us was actually in New Orleans for the event. Didn't have a ticket, but X-Man, how did you get in there?
I snuck in Mike Valentine's backpack.
Yes. So I wanted to ask you, what was the crowd reaction when Daniel Bryan finally reached the mountaintop?
It was akin to your favorite team winning the Super Bowl.
The Browns.
Or maybe even the championship AFC NFC Championship, brother. It was amazing. The crowd reaction was like something. It was electric. To borrow from The Rock, it was electric. The hair in your arms were standing.
So it wasn't atomic.
It was nuclear.
Yeah, okay.
It was nuclear. See, that's better than atomic. But yeah, it was everything was phenomenal about that win. There was a big celebration. There was so much confetti going on and pyros.
Couldn't even see the screen.
It felt like the Silverdome, brother, was imploding. Superdome.
See, I mean, thank you.
Thank you.
Silverdome.
Thank you.
So, X, you've been to, I don't know, 10 or 15 WrestleManias. Was that the biggest moment that you had witnessed, or had there been other ones?
No,
that,
this to me personally, and I think some people could agree. Like I've been to from 20 on to 30, and I missed maybe one or two, but that was probably the biggest WrestleMania I've been a part of, and I think the biggest and best reaction we've seen out of WrestleMania.
And do you think that Undertaker's loss actually adds to the importance of this WrestleMania?
This WrestleMania is historic for many reasons, and the streak coming to an end was probably, I don't even want to say, but it was probably a bigger moment than Daniel Bryan winning the title.
Yeah. Bob, do you think that the streak should have come to an end?
Up until a few days ago, I would have said no. Keep it going on and on and on until he retires and have no losses whatsoever. And in fact, when I was watching the show on the WWE Network, when it worked, of course, it actually sucked, all the energy not only out of the arena, but in my participation with the show. I really wasn't feeling it until the last few minutes of Daniel Bryanson's comeback there. But as you said, when you look at it, this was very much the end of the old 1980s and 1990s WWF of the past, and it really is time to move forward, and they really are going towards a new generation.
Absolutely.
And hard with how all the new people that won, and the Wyatts, even though they lost, they look good.
Yes.
And it looks like they're going to be having a bright future in the next
Which
several
is sometimes
years,
even
too.
more important than looking good. How well you do in the match is even sometimes more important than picking up the victory.
That's Ric
especially
Flair.
when your opponent's John Cena, who everyone expects you to lose to. So.
Daniel Bryan, obviously a big winner at WrestleMania. Lesnar, obviously a big winner at WrestleMania. Something on his resume for the rest of his life.
yeah.
Okay. Cesaro, though, obviously a big winner coming out of WrestleMania. And really the thing with Cesaro is that he had star written on him the first day he showed up in the WWE.
Since day one.
But the WWE did not look at him as a star, much as the WWE did not look at Daniel Bryan as a star or CM Punk as a star, and he has had to earn his place at the top of the card.
Right.
How do you think he comes out of Mania?
I think Cesaro was picking up pretty major steam going into Mania, and I think he hit his I don't want to say plateau, but he's at the top of his game right now. In Mania, they put him over big in Mania, taking out. Everyone knew that the Big Show going in was going to win, but I think that was too much of a red herring. But I didn't see Cesaro coming out of that. I thought they were going to do it. Don't laugh, but I thought they were going to give it to Mark Henry.
Right.
I thought they were going to give it to Brad Maddox.
That too. But Cesaro picking up the Big
Is Ken
Show.
Patera available?
Ken Patera is not available, and I will not
Boris
talk
Fro.
about Ken Patera any longer. But Cesaro picking up, unassistedly picking up the Big Show.
Yes.
And walking his fat ass over to the ropes. And
Cesaro does
dumping-
not have a fat ass. Oh, you mean the Big Show? Okay.
And let me tell you something about Cesaro. That guy has the size that the WWE likes and the strength that they like, and he's got the
a better
personality.
in-ring wrestler than they normally get with that size and
It
strength.
may not have been the best interview, but now he's got Paul Heyman talking for him.
Exactly.
So there you go. It's a
Cesaro's
perfect.
the only guy that can turn Paul Heyman face after a monster heel run.
Let's talk about the body slams of big guys. So when Andre the Giant was slammed by Hogan, he was slammed, but it wasn't exactly an easy pickup.
No, I mean, come on. If you're in the business or profession, Andre helped Hogan.
Helped him.
He
okay?
helped him as much as he could.
When Lex Luger
That hip toss with Yokozuna.
lifted up Yokozuna, Yokozuna was maybe a centimeter off of the ground.
Hip
That was
toss.
a hip toss.
Hip toss.
That
You're
was a
being
hip
generous.
toss. Cesaro picked up the Big Show, lifted him about 45 feet in the air, and slammed his large derriere.
Yes, it was. In fact, if you ask me, it was even more impressive than Andre the Giant, than Hogan slamming Andre.
Except that it wasn't in as important a match.
Exactly. It was a battle royal. So.
But again, this WrestleMania is all about big historic moments. You know,
we got
Chuck,
one, right?
Charm and Chuck talk about the echoes of the past. This is definitely much like Andre and Hogan. This
Yes.
is like this is
Absolutely.
just generations Andre
It's what
Hogan.
it's what they deem a call. It was a callback to a WrestleMania moment.
And the thing with Cesaro is that this
call it
could be
rip-off.
a career-making moment
Yes,
if the WWE allows it to be. Okay,
That's a big
he
if.
can't then 2 weeks from now, all of a sudden he's getting beat up. Oh wait, he got pinned by somebody.
Beaten by Santino.
Right. If Santino Marella is defeating him in 2 weeks, then it's a complete waste. But otherwise, you have a fantastic moment.
Well, I think by them pairing him with Paul Heyman, I think that was their signature on.
Yeah.
Hey, we're in it for the long.
We're
haul.
behind you.
Exactly.
We're
I think that
behind
was
you.
the signature.
Well, they did the same for Curtis Axel too.
Let's not discuss that.
And by the way,
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. At least they gave it a try. At least they gave it a try.
and we look at it with all these new guys getting the big push with Danielson and Cesaro and the Wyatts and the Shield, all this new generation. This is the WWE that CM Punk 3 years ago would have loved to be a part of.
Yeah.
And now he's sitting on his ass in Chicago eating pizza.
Oh
yeah.
well.
Yeah. 21-1 doesn't sound as good as 22-0. Okay, so do we see Taker coming back next year at WrestleMania, or do we think this was his last Mania?
By all indications, this looked to be his final WrestleMania.
His brain says it's his last one, possibly.
But I see. Well,
Unless-
I see a potential down the road
If anybody says the name of anyone over age 50, I'm going to strangle them.
Well, he's just a day under, I think.
So anyway,
You're on Sting?
Steve Borden could be the final opponent for the Undertaker in both their careers.
Well, let me tell you something. I think there's going to be a different outcome. I think that Taker is going to wrestle the next 20 WrestleManias. He's going to lose each time,
to pay
and his
back the
record
debt?
is going to be 21-21.
I got one better. He's going to go for 42 more years. So you can have 21, 21, and 21 draws.
That
So
would be
21,
good.
21, 21.
So we've got a lot of draws coming up, is what you're saying.
Yes.
You guys are watching Inside the Squared Circle of Will Dunham. This over here, this brilliant man in the middle is Behemoth Bob. Great fucking Bob. I really like that one. And
It's
that
better
over
than
there,
Russo.
That handsome young man on the end there, ignore the extra 20 pounds, is the X-Man. And X, you also wanted to give the humanoids out there just a little taste of New Orleans, taste of WrestleMania, what it was like being there.
Did the city smell like urine?
No, it actually did not smell like urine. It was actually pretty decent.
They
but it
used
did
air
smell like
fresheners.
crawfish.
We tape in Rockville. No one's going to be talking about a town that smells like urine if you're in Rockville.
Well, there was a certain buzz around the entire city. You couldn't help but know
Weed?
That too.
Jack
You
Swagger?
couldn't help but know that WrestleMania was in town.
Right.
And it was exciting to be in the city. It's a city that's always partying, a city that's always alive, but there's an extra flavor of WrestleMania in the air. And wrestlers were all over Bourbon Street. You couldn't help but bump into leader or a drunk RVD stage diving into a crowd, which did happen.
You have a photograph that somebody told me you posted on this little thing called Facebook of you and a
I don't have
grappler.
it.
What's that all about?
Oh, Trish Stratus, she couldn't wait to get her hands on me.
Is that why there was this palm mark, just this huge slap on
Yes,
your face?
right,
That I
and
see?
there's a scar on my back too, but that's another story.
Actually, that was from the last production meeting.
That's true.
The knife in your back that was twisted.
That is absolutely true.
Any other interesting moments you had down there?
I gotta say, we did our rounds, our press rounds, and we got some good footage. And I just want to
Of what?
I can't tell you that, but I want to thank all the staff of WWE and the people of Nowlands for being very accommodating inside the Square Circle.
So after Lesnar pinned Undertaker, there's this mythology of there was a brief exchange between the two of them. So what do you think was discussed there?
I think what Brock Lesnar was whispering to Taker was, "Can I get a ride back to the hotel, brother? Because Sablé
It was a
left me."
practical discussion.
It was.
I'm still sleeping on the couch after this.
Yeah. Is that your theory on what the
Also,
discussion was?
that may have been, I think my theory is, hey, maybe you could fix me up some cornbread and catfish before I go back to Minneapolis.
There is great food down in New Orleans. So my personal theory is this. So that wrestling actually isn't on the level. What? I know. It's a news break. So I think
My
that
whole life is a lie.
the entire deal there was Undertaker did agree to lose that, okay?
Absolutely.
In exchange, Sablé and Brock Lesnar, it's going to be a, well, never mind.
Oh,
Next thing you're going to tell me Santa Claus is not real, right?
April 26th is the final taping of Inside the Squared Circle, an august show that has been on the air since 1989, and we are inviting Inside the Squared Circle fans, if you are interested in coming down and you are sober, please come down. There's information on the Inside the Squared Circle Facebook page, which I will never look at because I despise Facebook deeply into the very marrow of my bones. But Charm and Chucky told me that there's going to be information there that you can find where to go and how much money to give him when you arrive.
And even the Black Scorpion is welcome if he shows up.
No money. Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
X, your final thoughts on Mania?
This cardboard shit.
My final thoughts on Mania are it was a pleasure and honor to be there because this is something that does not the amount of changes that happened in one night was just astronomical, and it felt good to be a part of WWE history, especially when you have the ascension of Daniel Bryan, the defeat of the Undertaker.
Last show appearance of the Warrior.
I mean, you get to see the Ultimate Warrior in
Yep.
person, and it's just it felt almost surreal. And I was just happy to be a part of it.
And Bob, your takeaway from Mania?
I was bummed out about the Taker losing at first, but again, with the historical significance, it actually is a very good show looking back on it, even though the Taker was knocked out from that concussion.
Yeah, so I would say that this certainly is going to stand as an historic WrestleMania. X, once again, you did not give a single interesting anecdote from WrestleMania, but that's 10 consecutive years you've blown it on that question.
By
but
design.
We always expect that. I want to thank everybody for joining us this week on Inside the Squared Circle. We're going to see you again next week for Will Dunham, for Behemoth Bob, for the stunningly beautiful X-Man. See you again. Maybe in the future.
Brother.